All right. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. How is everybody doing today? I've had an interesting day I'm going to share with you in a moment. I was like, oh no. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you guys have had a good day. Uh, so before we jump into anything, I just want to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you please to be decent in the chat, no racism, no nastiness. If you cannot abide by those very simple, easy rules, those awesome people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches are going to boot you out of here. So we're not going to have it, okay? But so let's just all be decent, have a good time, and enjoy each other's company and be respectful. All right. If you have any questions in the chat, all cap locks, please, because it stands out to me more, and I appreciate that. So I had a couple. I had today off. I didn't have to work today, so I was like, okay, let me. I want to go out. I got some running around I want to do. Um, I wanted to get some supplies and do all that, right? So I'm driving. Next thing I know, I got a state trooper behind me, and I'm not speeding. I know I'm not speeding. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And so I make the road turns, and as soon as we make the turn, she lights me up. It was a female state trooper, and I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me, right? So I'm like, great, this is awesome. So I pull over, put the window all the way down, and I'll tell you the sequence of what happened because it is what it is. Um, so put the window all the way down. She comes up. I have my left hand is out the window, and my other hand is on the. And as she comes up to the truck, I said to her, I just want to let you know, before we even get started, that I am armed. And she was like, okay. And so she said, where is it? And I told her. And she's like, okay, well, I'm going to open the door. She goes, put your hands on the steering wheel, please. And she opened the door and she took my firearm out and she put it on the hood of the truck. And she says, well, the reason I pulled you over, your license plate is ineligible. You can't read it anymore. My plate that I have on my truck, folks, is about 15 years old. I had that plate on my Santa Fe. All right, when I had the Santa Fe, I had the Santa Fe for 11 years. After the Santa Fe, I had the Dodge Journey, and I think I had the Dodge Journey for like 3 years. Two, no, I had no. I'm sorry, I had the Dodge Journey for 2 years, and then when I transferred and bought the truck, which was like 3 years ago, illegible. Yeah, you couldn't. She couldn't read it. So I got the truck like 3 years ago now. So it's like 15 years, or maybe 16 years. I've had the same plates on three different vehicles. So she takes the pistol back to her. Well, actually, I had two. So I told her where both were, and so I listen to this. So this I found interesting. So I had one in the center console of my truck. Okay, and so after she had taken the one off my hip, she said, "You just put your hands down." And she literally climbed over and was on my lap, basically, to get the second pistol. And I was telling her, listen, I am no threat to you. I'm not going to be doing anything, so you have nothing to worry about. But what kind of danger does that put that officer in? And she was not a big woman, okay? She was not a big woman. Um, she's on my lap. How difficult, realistically, if I was a bad actor, to overpower her at that point? But, obviously, that didn't happen. So she takes the guns back to her vehicle, and I know she was running the serial numbers on the guns, which is like, whatever. And maybe she liked me and saw my shirtless videos. You never know, could be. Um, but anyway, so she comes back up to the truck and she says, "I'm going to put your pistols in the back seat." I said, "That's fine." So she put them back there. She gave me a fix-it ticket. So I have 10 days to get the plate replaced. So now I'm going to have to call New York DMV and see if they can't ship me down some new plates. But it's just when I had my inspection last year, the guy said to me, "You really need to get the plates changed out because you can't read them from the back." So what I may do in the meantime, because I looked at the front plate looks a whole lot better than the back plate. I might switch the plates around. So the back plate is the front plate's in the back because it looks better. No, they're not the orange plates. No, these are the old. They're like I said, I've had the same plates for like 16 years. So why don't you just get West Virginia plates? That's a great question, JJ, and thank you for asking that. And I will explain to you guys why. Okay, that's a great question because I thought to myself after that, I said, well, you know what? Maybe I'll just flip my plates over and make them West Virginia. So I went to my insurance. I'm with State Farm. Okay, so I went to an insurance person and I talked to them, and I said, yeah, I'm going to probably like look at switching. So I just want to see what the insurance would be and blah 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 down here. Now I pay a certain amount each month, and I'm not going to tell you how much I pay each month, but it's not killer. It's not hugely expensive. I have no points on my license. I have no accidents, no nothing. Um, so she's like, now listen. Okay, so I'll explain this in this way. She goes, paint the letters. I could, but then they're going to accuse you of doctoring them. I could do that, but anyway, so this is what happened. So just for my truck, just for my truck would have been more than I'm paying. I have a life insurance policy. I have my motorcycle and the truck on my insurance. Right now, it would have been more just for the truck, not counting the other two. And I said to her, I go, "Holy crap!" I go, "Why is that? So much more?" And she said, "Because a lot of people in West Virginia drive without a license, don't have insurance, and that's why the insurance is so expensive." I mean, what a freaking absolute scam and a ripoff. You know what I mean? So yeah, so there was that, and I'm like, man, what a freaking unbelievable. So I gotta figure out. I'm gonna have to call, like I said, New York tomorrow, and see if I can't get the plates sent down, or how they can do it. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to wait until November, because I do plan on going to New York in November. Because Thanksgiving, I always go to, for Thanksgiving back up in New York. So then I wait till then. So I have to do something, and so then I'll have to pay the fine, whatever the fine is, and I have no idea what it is. I'll have to, call it, and it can't be horrible. I don't think. I wouldn't imagine, but you never know with the way that they give out tickets these days. But yeah, so that was fun, and it was the first time I've had to deal with since I've been down here, getting pulled over, and why don't you license in the state that you're at? It's probably cheaper. No, that's what I'm saying. It's not cheaper. It's not cheaper. Oh, what happened to my finger? Okay, so yesterday, Paul and Barbara came out to the homestead, and they Barbara calls me and says, "We got a flat cheaper." You found something cheaper in New York. Imagine that, right? Um, she said, "We got a flat tire." So they have a Ford F-150 just like I do, and they're like, "We can't get the tire down. I don't know what we're doing wrong. We can't get the tire down." Well, I've changed the flat with my truck already, that way, because you have to go. It's a ridiculous way that you have to do it to lower your tire. So I went up and got the tire down for them. I said, we're gonna get you jacked up. Now Paul and Barbara are an older couple, so obviously I'm going to help them out. So go to start untightening the lug nuts before we jack the truck up, and on the very first lug nut, it slips, and I cut myself through here. Okay, and so I bandaged this up this way today because I took everything off this morning. to see what it was looking like, and it looked great until it started bleeding again. But it's just right in that area. It got me pretty good. So you know, but anyway, so that's what happened with that, and so I got the tire change for him, and I threw a band-aid on it then, and I came down and I cleaned it and dressed it, and it is what it is. It's just another scar for down the road. It's a good one. It's all through like this whole section right here, so lose a little bit of skin as well. So and so I said to him, I said, "See, I'm even bleeding for you guys." So that's what happened with that. But okay, so let's. What do we got? 258 in the chat. We got 89 thumbs up. Guys, if you haven't shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel. I do appreciate that ahead of time, and it really does make a big difference. So thank you very much for that. Also, again, if you are not subscribed, uh, state ID where I used to live, 8 years, $6. State ID where I moved to, $52 for 8 years. Hub CDL where we lived was 80 for 8 years. CDL where we moved to was 142 for 8 years. Yeah, just different states. It's so weird how different states. And the insurance lady told me, she said a lot of people that have, another address, like in Virginia and stuff like that. She said they insure their vehicles in Virginia. They don't insure them in New York or in West Virginia because West Virginia is that much more expensive. And you wouldn't think that it would be because there's not a lot of people, but it's just it's another scam. It's another way that we are screwed no matter what. So it is what it is. But anyway, so little blood, but they got their tire changed. Put the flat in the back. Told them go get that squared away, and but showed them how to get that tire down. So what they were doing, the way that it is for the Fords, from there's like a 5-year window that they hit you take your key, your fob, you have the key in there. You open up the back, and there's a little circle thing, okay, and so you have your tool that you're using for getting your jacking up the whole thing. There's got all the different little parts. You have to stick that in there, and it's got to be the one end, and it's got to go through this little cone that's in there, and then you got to turn it, and that will lower the tire so people can't steal your tire because you have a full size tire. um, you know but I have my tags in West Virginia. California will not insure it. Have to insure it in West Virginia. Oh, that sucks. What, are you in California? Shenanigans. Yeah, I didn't realize. I thought for sure that the insurance down here would be a lot cheaper because there's not a lot of people down here. But oh, you live in both places? Okay. Yeah, you're screwed no matter what. To be honest with you, it's just part of the game. Just part of the game. But anyhow, so let's actually get into the topic here, right? Uh, the clock is definitely ticking, folks. And listen, I'm not trying to do no gloom and doom, and I'm not like, oh my God, the end of the world is happening, and all this type of plates. Um, it's that I won't do that. I just feel that our time, realistically, I feel like our time is short just because of everything that's going on. It seems like this administration is hell bent on getting us involved in something in the Middle East, uh, for whatever agenda or reason and all that type of stuff. But yeah, hey, there's Philip, born Australia in the house. So yeah, it's just a lot of crazy stuff going on. I want you guys to think about something, okay? Strait of Hormuz, right over there. Iran controls that. If they cut that Strait of Hormuz off, which they could do anytime that they wanted to, that basically stops the transfer of half the oil, about 50% of the oil that is produced in the world. Now, if you want to look back at times, you look back in the 70s, when they took 5 million barrels of oil off the market. And I can't remember which country it was at the time. It might have been Iran. 5 million barrels of oil a day was off the market. The gas prices tripled. So, the reality is we use a lot of gas in this country. We use a lot of oil. We were 3.5 years ago oil independent. Okay, if anybody remembers that, we were oil independent. We were an export of oil. We had plenty of oil. This administration from day one, right? From day one, have done everything that they can to stop us from producing oil. So now we are an importer of oil once again because of this current administration. It's not a matter of anti this or anti that. That's just a fact. Okay. That is a fact. They stopped the pipeline. He did an executive order and stopped the pipeline right off the top and everything else. I mean, you look at everything that's going on and our gas prices, um, since he took office, what it's up over 50%, right? I mean, I think it's 55% maybe since the Biden administration took over from where we were before. So I mean, it's definitely much more expensive to get that now. But if you have half of the oil in the world being cut off for being able to get, what do you think gas prices would do here? Okay, even though we could always re-ramp up production, but that's going to take a while. That's going to take a while. And here's the other thing: is some of the other bigger oil producers. You think Russia's going to help us, folks? You think Russia's going to be like, hey, my buddies, the Americans, we're going to be right there for you? I don't think so. So, and then you have other countries. There's not a whole lot of countries that, yes, in the 70s, only fill up on even and odd days. I remember that. I do remember that. Yep, it depended, I think, on your license plate. hmm So, yeah, and it was long long lines. So you think about if the prices of a gallon of gasoline right now doubled or tripled right now, how much harder would that be to you know get to work and or not? And would it even be worth going to work with the gas prices that high? You know what I mean? Especially if you have any kind of distance that you have to travel. I mean, it's insanity when you think about that situation. So right now, they're playing a very dangerous game, very dangerous game. So yeah, Russia will definitely not help us. I'm not political, but drill, baby, drill. Yeah, and I think we should as well. We got to stop relying on countries that hate us. I don't see. This is what I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. So I remember filling up my Camaro for $5. Wow. Yeah, I even when I was a kid, I mean, gas wasn't exactly cheap. And according to, especially with what I was making an hour back then. I will tell you this, guys. When I was a senior in high school, I worked a full-time job. I was working for Bell's, a small town called Caledonia. I worked in produce, so I would get there at 5 in the morning, unload the trucks. My boss never got there to 7. I was out of there by noon because I was in school, so I had to go for gym in my English class and stuff like that, and then I left work early anyway. But I remember making 118 a week clear after taxes. So it was for me, it was 50-cent drafts for beer at the bar was awesome. So it was good times. But I had a 1972 Chevy Impala 4-door boat, and that thing did nothing but suck gas. It just sucked gas. So yeah, that was my first car, and that was I used to call it a 4-door boat. That thing was huge, huge. So, but anyhow, there's a lot of things that can go wrong really quickly and in a hurry. Okay, if the gas prices end up doubling or tripling, what do you think the trickle down effect of that would be for the price of food? Um, yeah, we need to be self reliant on oil again. I absolutely we do. So But we need to think about these things. The food prices would go through the roof. Any kind of other products that you're buying that would be shipped by truck would go through the roof. I mean, it would just be absolutely insanity. All the prices now is nothing more than corrupt greed. I don't disagree with that statement. So, um, and here's another thing to think about, right? So some of you may go, well, Ed, we don't really have a lot to worry about. We have this strategic oil reserve, right? Well, if you guys remember, this president that we have right now has brought down the strategic oil reserve a lot lower. We don't have as much as we used to have. If you also remember, Trump tried to refill the strategic oil reserve while he was in office, which was shot down by the Democrats in Congress. They were not able to do it at around $2 a gallon for gas. He tried to refill them. So, and this is not a rah rah Trump and those guys suck live stream, okay? Just straight, simple facts. Those are facts, all right? Biden has drawn down the strategic oil reserve to try to keep gas prices back lower, supposedly, right? But that hurts us so much in the long run because we don't have that supply available to us if an emergency situation happens, which is scary, which is scary. When I started driving, gas was 31 cents for regular. That would be 2.44 today. Yeah, yeah, I know. It's absolutely nuts. Do I remember what the gas price was when I was a senior in high school? I don't, JJ. I don't remember, to be honest with you. Um, Somebody wants to go back and look at gas prices in New York in 1984, that would give you an idea because I have no idea. I don't remember. It's only a few years ago, so we're only talking 40 years ago. So I'm not wasn't really you know thinking about what gas was. I could probably look that up. Hold on. Let's look and see what they were. Village Homestead says 47 cents a gallon in 1983. Okay, well there we go. Yeah, so I mean, and at that time, you're filling up your car and you're only making 118 a week. That goes quick. What is your opinion on buying silver? Thanks. I think it's really important to have silver. I've talked about this many times through a lot of different live streams. That's a great question. I would not buy gold. I've said this over and over and over again. I would buy silver because it's more barterable. When the time comes and the dollar is worth nothing because it's nothing but a piece of paper that our government says is worth something, silver and gold will retain their value. Uh, if you're trying to bargain and do stuff, silver is going to be what you would want to have. I recommend having junk silver, your dimes, your quarters, your 50-cent pieces, and your silver dollars, right? Definitely, have some of those. Definitely have some of those. In '87, to fill my Grand Dam, it was $12. Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. That's a long time ago. A long time ago. So, but yeah, my second car that I bought brand new. My second car I ever had, I bought a brand new, and that was a 1985 Chevy Chevette, and that was a four door. Okay, that was a great little car. I love that car. I beat the crap out of that car, but it was awesome. So that was a lot of fun. But anyway, going back to how badly things, we think that those situations over there can't touch us, right? Because we're all the way over here on this side of the pond, and they've been fighting over there for 2,000 years and yada yada yada. But reactions of things can cause a lot of problems, a lot of problems, and I think people need to pay attention to that. It's just not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. What's going on right now with us putting more assets in the area, we're asking for trouble. And yeah, trickle down effect, absolutely. But again, I'm going to encourage you all. I'm going to encourage you all. Get out there and do what you need to do. Take care of what you need to take care of. Because I honestly don't feel like we have a whole lot of time before things get really ugly really quickly, and it's going to affect us all, food prices wise. I mean, just look at what the food prices are now. You know, Paula said, I wanted to buy a Trans Am. Dad refused to co-sign. First buy on my own. Said I'd have a ticket in less than 48 hours. Well, I had a, was it? I think it was a Trans Am as well that I had uh, after I got out of the military. I picked up a Trans Am, and it was in my early 20s. And what ended up happening was my little brother's buddy, when he saw me with this black Trans Am, right? He looked at me and he goes, 3 months. I go, 3 months? He goes, yep, 3 months. I go, 3 months for what? He goes, you'll be dead in 3 months, because of the way I used to drive. I mean, and I still drive fast, but I was definitely lead foot back then. I used to call it my fiberglass coffin, because I always said if I wrecked in that thing at high speed, you're all done. You were all done. So, but it was a great car. I like that one. I had a Ford Mustang convertible at one point. When the kids were born, that's what I was driving then. And actually, that's what I brought them home from. The hospital was in that Mustang. Um, but then I had to go get the family car. It was like, okay, we got three kids and the wife and me. Not everybody's fitting in the convertible anymore. So, but anyway, a lot of craziness is happening. I went out today, like I said again. I got stocked up on a few more things. One of the things that I definitely did today is I picked up more dog food. I picked up more chicken feed and scratch. I didn't need them at this point, but I figure it's better to be proactive and have them on hand. So just trying to be right on top of things. So being as ready as we can be. That I saw that they banned masks because of the massive jump in crime. I laughed. Yeah, that was in one county, I think in New York. It was only one county that was done. So my concern is that the U.S. telling Iran that all the military hardware that's going over in their region will make the U.S. vulnerable to some type of attack or invasion. Again, Kevin, I don't think if there was ever an attack on the United States, as long as these morons in Washington don't disarm us, we as a people, there's a lot of people. Now, the cities might be different, okay? Cities might be different, but there's a lot of people, especially you get out into the country, that are armed to the teeth, are not going to play any games, and though they would going for high population density areas anyway, max casualties. That's what they would be looking for. So there's going to be your cities, and are there gangs and stuff in the cities? Of course there are, and they would band together and do what they needed to do as well. But a lot of those gangs don't have the kind of training and don't know how to shoot in a really realistic way to be able to really garner much of a problem for the people that would be doing something like that. But they would have a much more difficult time once they got away from the cities and suburbia. Once they got away from those and they came out into the country, those would not be the folks that you want to screw with. So that's just kind of my take on that. If there were those type of people, they would be dealt with. We have enough strong enough military, and we have enough people here that we could do what we needed to do. Now, a surprise attack obviously would be a surprise attack. You'd have high casualties in the beginning, but I think it could get under control pretty quickly. So, but yeah, I just like I said, you prepare for the worst and you hope for the best. Unfortunately, to be honest, I don't have a whole lot of faith in mankind because we are the most vicious animal on this planet. We enjoy killing. We enjoy killing each other, and that's not going to stop. And greed is not going to stop with big corporations and control and you know and everything else. It's not. It's not going to stop. So at some point, something has to give. You look at Rome, and I've said this before, guys. We are the modern day Rome, And why did Rome fall? Endless wars, right? We've been in endless wars, and they rotted from within. So, when you have those type of things happening, which is what's happening, you know, it's a matter of time. It'll be sad to see, because then who's going to end up emerging as a dominant player in the world? But it just like I said, I feel like that clock again is it's ticking, and the more ready we are for that, the better off we're going to be. I'm always going to continue to encourage you to continue to prep, to continue to get ready, because again, we just don't know. What do we got? 354 in the chat. We're at 171 thumbs up. Again, guys, that's less than half. If you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to please do so to show support for the channel. I thank you for that ahead of time. It really does make a big difference with the algorithms as well. So I thank you for that. Again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And thank you ahead of time for that as well. So it's just a matter, like I said, we just do what you can. And like I said, I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I'm not like, hey, buy my product because this is going to save the day. I'm not doing that, okay? I'm just asking you, look at the situation, look at things realistically, realize the information that we are being fed through the mainstream media is the information they want you to hear. They are handed a script. They're actors, all those people, all right? And I don't care if it's CNN, it's Fox, whatever. They are handed a script and they're told this is what you need to say. And that's what they do. And then when you have other people having varying different opinions and the censorship that is out there now, and there is a lot of censorship, as we can all agree on that, I think, that if you talk about certain topics that are not of the approved narrative, I'll put it that way, you are punished. That is also a fact. So, you know, on TV, the ads have been promoting survival food and more. Well, I think people need to pay attention to that. They really should. They really should. You know, you do your own research. You pay attention to what is going on. You look at the possibilities and the angles of where things could go. You know, you look what we've been doing down here, folks. You can definitely, I would assume that you can tell we've been amping things up big time. And there's a reason for that. There is a reason for that. So I'm not just telling you to do one thing and not doing anything. I'm telling you, and also we're working on what we need to work on down here. Uh, you know, we're not where we need to be yet. We're getting there. Everything takes time, and that's a reality. Everything takes time. Yeah, I saw that too, JJ. They're talking. This has salmonella. This is bad. That's bad. So, but again, they're always going to want to keep you in a perpetual state of fear. All right. And that's the goal. They want to keep you scared. If you're scared, you're easier to control. But if you are proactive, okay, if you are proactive and you decide, hey, you know, if you decide to do something about it and give yourself peace of mind. So that to me, that's what prepping is all about. It's all about going, okay, I don't have to rely on them. I don't want to rely on them. And when I mean them, I mean the government. Because, folks, you pay attention to stuff, and I've talked about this before. My wake up call, my affinity moment, if you will, was Hurricane Katrina back in 2005. Okay. I saw the government's response to that disaster in one isolated part of the country. Remember that? I remember. And I also remember what they did when they finally went in there. If you guys remember this, and I'm going to share this with you, the first thing they did is they went in and disarmed the populace. They disarmed them, right? because we're going to keep you safe instead of being able to keep yourself safe. That's an issue. That's an issue. I don't want no help from them whatsoever. I want to be able to take care of my own business. I want to hunker down. I want to ride out whatever's going to happen and hope that things clear up down the road and that we can emerge from it and be okay. That may not be the case, they may not be the case. So, um, you know, if you are prepared, it gives you peace of mind. It helps you sleep easier at night. That's the key. That is the key to me. So, when people say, oh, you're crazy, and I love it when people say nothing is ever going to happen. Well, folks, something happens all the time in this country. Natural disasters happen all the freaking time. It's not like they stop. Right now, what do we got going on in California right now, folks? Look at the forest fires. Is it every single year? Because one of the key factors, right? What is one of the key factors? Piss poor forest management. Because, oh, we can't do anything, we have to let it all be natural, and we don't want, we don't clean up all these down, pine trees. And there's a lot of pine trees and spruces out there that go up like tinder. Yeah, look at Japan with the earthquakes. They're not going away. They're not going to stop. So we're going to have earthquakes. We're going to have tornadoes. We have tornadoes all the time. We're going to have hurricanes. They continue to happen. They're not going to stop. um, I live in a national forest in Southern California, total mismanagement. Exactly. Exactly. And that's the problem. And that's why California burns every year, because they don't do nothing about it. If they were proactive, I mean, up here, up through Pennsylvania and in New York, and I don't, I think I've seen here in West Virginia as well, you will see areas where it's all forest, but there'll be a line going up through where there's no trees. It's because they make that break in there in the forest on purpose. So in case there is a forest fire, hopefully it doesn't jump and they can stop that in that area. When you don't take care of the forest and you don't clean it up, and that's firewood for people. People could utilize that for fires and stuff like that. But heaven forbid that you actually do that. It's insanity. When you have the environmentalist having such a big say in what happens, that's when you're having problems, and that's a fact. you know they don't want you doing this, and oh my goodness, we can't do that because of the spotted owl, or we can't load up the deserts with solar panels to get free power, right, from the sun, because the tortoise or whatever goes through that area of the desert. I mean, it's just nuts. It's absolutely nuts. So, but it's not going to stop. It's just not going to stop. So again, to me, prepping is another form of insurance. It gives me peace of mind. I put my head down at the pillow at night and I go, okay, well, if something happens, I'm in a whole lot better shape than most people, and that's what I have to look at it. And, even like I said, and how many times have I said this to you guys, right? If you have a 2 week supply of food and water available, which is not a lot of money, folks, it really isn't. If you put the effort in, it's not a lot of money, and you can still do it over time. You can still do it over time. You get a 2 week supply of food and water. It gives you an advantage over 95% of the people. I think it's either 95 or 93. I think the percentage of people more prepared has gone up a little bit. So I think it's about 93% of the people are not prepared for a 2 week disaster. What that tells me is you are going to have a tremendous amount of people in panic mode from day one because they've done nothing. They're not ready at all. So those of us that are ready, that have prepared, that are getting ready, we're going to be in a lot better shape. And some of us are in better shape than others, and that's a fact. It comes down to what your commitment level is, what you want to do, where you want to be, what is your goal, what do you want to accomplish. Me, I want to live. I want my children to live. I want my family to live. I want my group to survive and to thrive. And it's not just see. There's the other part, guys. There's an important part. There's surviving, right? There's surviving, and then there's thriving. Because regardless of how much you prep, and I used to love when people would say this to me, oh, no matter how much you prep, at some point you're going to run out. Yeah, but the goal is to get to that point where you're transitioning to being independent, growing your crops and doing whatever you got to do and raising your animals and all that type of thing, to not have to suffer and die and and starve to death in that meantime. So that's what preps are for, is to give you that barrier to be able to get to where you need to be. And again, yeah, eventually all those preps are going to run out. They're all going to run out. But if you have prepared properly, you're going to be in much, much better shape. And, like I said, and I want to not just survive, I want to thrive. I want to be comfortable. I want to be able to take a hot shower. I want to be able to have power, to charge up batteries, to be able to use tools, to be able to garden and whatever else. And so, yeah, I don't. And ES just said, and I don't want to stand in any food lines, and I don't blame you, and I don't either. I don't want to be in a shelter with 2,000 of my closest friends because that's where I had to go because I had no other choice. Screw that. I would rather choose the people I want to be around, and that's part of it as well. So again, the more prepared you are, the more that you do, the better off you're going to be in the long run. So I will always sit here and I will always encourage you to do the things that you need to do. Be proactive and be prepared as much as you possibly can. And again, 2 weeks, 2 weeks of food and water can make all the difference in the world because it gives you. Here's what 2 weeks of food and water gives you, folks. It gives you time, right? Because from most people have what 3 4 days, maybe a week's worth of food in their house at the most, but it gives you time to sit back and go, okay, if you don't, let's say you don't have a plan, let's say you're just Joe citizen out there, and you kind of listen and you went, okay, I'm going to have 2 weeks worth of food and water in my home. What it's going to give you is the time to make a plan. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? And what are our options? Where other people from the very beginning are going to be scrambling for food, for water, for basic shelter, depending on what time of the year it is, if they don't have a wood stove and all those type of things. So again, what you're looking for is to buy time, and time is always your biggest enemy. Always is, always will be. So the more ready you are, the better off you're going to be. Adding food on a regular basis, long-term food storage, very important. Freeze-dried food, I think, is very important. I think it's an important aspect of it. You need to be diversified in Social Security was cyber attacked today. Best protect your information. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on as far as cyber attacks. There's been a lot of things happening. I mean, you look at even the interview with Elon Musk and Trump. There was issues there. So was that done on purpose? I don't know. Plan on gaining knowledge from books and people like you. Well, thank you, Laurie. And books are important too, guys. I will tell you that right now. Books are really important because you may not be actively reading them right at the moment, but when that time comes, I'm telling you right now, you're going to have one thing that you're going to have a whole lot of then. You're going to have a whole lot of time, on your hands, and what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that time? And if you have books with the knowledge in there, let me look at, unless it's buried, I'm not going to pull it out if it's buried. Yeah, I got it buried. I got a bunch of books here, but there's books out there, guys, that will show you how to survive in nature, how to, do a lot of different things. And I think that that's important. Yeah, you won't always have internet and electricity to hook stuff up, right? So that's where books are really important. Books are really important for that, from that aspect of it. We're gonna do egg count here in a minute, Joe. Um, but so those are things. Like I said, again, there's so many aspects of it. It can be very overwhelming, and if you let it overwhelm you, then guess what you're going to do? You're not going to do anything. You're making those steps. getting information that you need, doing the things that you need to do, getting yourself in that position to be as ready as you can be. It's going to be better for you, that transition. I was talking to people, like I think even in the last live stream, I said, the only difference for me in a true SHTF situation, realistically, I wouldn't leave the property, right? I'd stay here. Number two, no internet and no phone. That's it. Everything else pretty much would stay the same. Obviously, we'd have more people here and there'd be other projects we would be needing to work on. But, we would prioritize, okay, now it's time to get that shower system set up and, outdoor shower, whatever we're going to do, because now you're going to have a whole bunch of people that are going to want to wash up every day. So, and again, conserving water, making sure that we have enough water. There's so many aspects of it that go into it. So, but that's all part of it. Let's do this right now, guys. I'm going to ask again. We're at 369 in the chat. We're at 238 on the thumbs up. Again, if you haven't shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to do that real quick first to show support for the channel. And again, I thank you for that. Again, it really does help with the algorithm, so I do appreciate that as well. Janet, don't jump the gun on me. You know better than most people. Don't jump the gun. I haven't said start yet. Um, but anyway, also, again, if you are not subscribed, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. There's a lot of shadow banning going on the YouTube. We all know that. Not just my channel, a lot of other channels as well, that they're not taking care of things. So, can you fill the non-food grade totes with water for fire suppression? Yes, yes, Kathleen, we could. Yep. All right. Starting now, not with Mar, because he went jump the gun early. How many eggs today? And yes or no for Miss Betty White. So you guys have no patience. That's the problem. You guys have no patience. You won't wait. You want to be the first one. You want to be the first one. You got to wait till I say go. So I'm going to tell you something funny here before we get started. Uh, Hold on a second. I'll tell you in a second. So Janet and Mar, who both jumped the gun, had the correct answer, but they're not the winner because they jumped the gun. So they lose. But guess who did get the right answer? It's a multi-time winner. That would be Mr. DJ with 4 eggs today, and yes for Miss Betty White. So congratulations to DJ, another win in your belt. So congratulations. See, Janet and Mar, if you just held off just for a minute. But so congratulations to DJ. You've won absolutely nothing, but you are happy about it, so that is a good thing. So anyhow, guys are so funny. I just love it when everybody's wanting to. I'm like, I didn't say start yet. You guys are banging out answers. Anyway, so again, what's going on in the Middle East absolutely can affect us. It can be really ugly, really, really fast. They're hyping everything up that Iran is going to attack Israel at any point in time, blah, 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 blah. It's just, could it happen? It absolutely could happen. Absolutely could happen. But, you know, everybody loses realistically. And, I mean, I know their hatred for the Jews over there is immense. It's absolutely crazy. The hatred. I mean, it's insane. But like I said, hopefully, and I say this without a whole lot of confidence, um, hopefully cooler heads will prevail. I doubt it, to be honest with you. Power, control, money, it's all part of it. They want these wars to continue. And when I say they, whoever really is running things, folks, that's who they are. When I talk about they a lot of times, I'm not talking about the government, because the government is an illusion of what's in charge. They're not really in charge. You may think that they're in charge, but there's people behind the scenes that are really making decisions, and those people have been in power for a very, very long time. They're very influential. They have a lot of money. You know, you think about talk about somebody that has a lot of influence and a lot of power. Bill Gates, right? I mean, you think about somebody like him that can make a huge difference um, in what he does and how he does it. And it's always about controlling the narrative. If you know, look at all the communications that he owns, so he can control that flow of information. So you're not going to always hear bad things. You know, I call them the super rich club. Yeah, they are. You know, there's people that are they're the ones that are really truly running the show. You know, you look at big business as a big part of that. You know, J.P. Morgan Chase would be Jamie Dimon. He's been in charge for over 20 years. You don't think he's got some power and can do some things? Absolutely can. You look at the insurance companies. That's all a racket. It's all a racket. They can set the rates. They can decide on a whim that, oh no, insure this area anymore because too many wildfires and it costs us too much money or too many hurricanes or whatever the case may be. And they can set these rates at astronomical numbers that if you want to try to protect your home, you know, you would have to pay that. Look at the power companies. I mean, the control that they have. Look at the oil companies, the control that they have. You know, I mean, it's insanity. It's insanity. And we let them keep doing it. We just let them keep doing it. The food, you know, the like they jumped the price of beef up way huge, right? Is the rancher getting rich off of that? He's not. He's not the one getting rich. So there's a lot of crap going on. Every time you turn around, it's about more and more and more control, and it's not going to change. So at some point, and I've said this before also, something has to give. People can't keep doing what they're doing. They can't afford to. So something has to give down the road, and I think you're going to see bad things coming down our way, honestly. So again, I will encourage you to continue to get ready, continue to prep, do what you have to do. Um, and yet, if they hit up Lebanon, that is self-defense. I'm not saying that, Mar. I'm not saying that. It's all what you have to understand. There is no good side and a bad side. We're not the good guys, and they're the bad guys. It depends on who you're listening to and where you're getting your information from. Okay, you don't think that with Israel and Hamas, that Hamas is not making Israel the bad guy when they were the ones that attacked Israel first, right? So, we always, oh, the U.S., we're the saviors, we're the good guys. No, we're not. We want to control it all. We want to control it all. And that's, so we have our fingers in a lot of pies, and we've pissed off a lot of people through the years. And that's why so many of these different countries and people hate us as much as they do. What are we at? 269. Let's see if we can hit 300. We got like 7 minutes to go here, guys. Let's see if we can hit 300 thumbs up, because why not? It would be a nice, cool number. So if you have not done that yet, please again do that. Let's see if we can hit 300 thumbs up. It's 30 away right now. We're at 270. So just for fun, I would appreciate that, and thank you ahead of time. So, but again, I don't ever sit here and say, oh, we're the good guys and we're wonderful and we help everybody out. No, it's about control and power. You look at Libya, and what Gaddafi, and oh, Gaddafi was a terrible dictator and he was so horrible. But yet his country was doing pretty darn good at the time. Pretty darn good, right? And then, we had a hand in that whole thing. If you look at the information, you pay attention to what's going on. Look at the water pipeline that were building. Look who bombed that. Go back and look, folks. Look who bombed that. All right, pay attention. Again, everything is done for a reason. We don't want that. We can't let them prosper and flourish and not need us. Right? What's Libya like now? Right? Look at Iraq. Look at Iraq, So, you get these people in power and control, and they get that power and they want to stay there, and they do what they do, So, in one of the first things a lot of these people do when they get in power is they disarm the population. And as soon as they disarm the population, that's where all the problems happen. It doesn't change. So, what, we're 287. We need 13 more, guys. 13 more thumbs up. So, again, let's see if we can hit that. But again, war is not always about, well, war is always about power, control, and money. That's what it comes down to. It's power, control, and money. Putting you under my thumb to do what I say, installing a puppet government that answers to me because I'm the one that's really in charge. And if I can keep a war going for years and years and years, and I'm part of the industrial military complex, I'm making a bunch of money. I'm making a ton of money, because I have stock in, this war company and that war company. And do you think they want wars to end? They don't want wars to end. What? Why? Okay, so I'm going to give a great example of this. You look at Afghanistan. Afghanistan, 20 years. 20 years we're in Afghanistan and we couldn't beat them? That's nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. If we said, again, and I've said this before, folks, here's the line: we're the good guys, they're the bad guys, and you wipe them out. End of story. War's over in less than 6 months because there's nobody left to fight because you've killed them all. That's a fact. That's a fact. And then you take the area over and you say, now it's ours. We won. If you don't like it, tough. Too bad. It's as simple as that. But we don't do that because there's no money in it. There's huge money in war. If we keep a war going on and on and on and on and on, then they're making more bombs. They don't care about our young men and women dying. You think they care? They throw veterans away like they're garbage. They don't care. So, but yet, what do we do for illegal aliens that come in the country illegally, right? We give them everything. It's insane. It makes no sense. You wonder why the numbers are down for recruitment? Because people don't want to go. They don't want to go fight wars for, the government so that they can get more oil or whatever they're trying to do. They don't want to do it anymore. So it's a completely different mindset. People are waking up, realizing that, hey, that's why Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa started BRICS. Exactly. And when that is going into effect, here's real quick, guys. BRICS goes into effect in October. October. Watch what happens then. All right. You're not hearing a whole lot about it here because they don't want you to. But when that goes into effect, that devalues the dollar. It devalues the dollar. So that'll be an interesting time. So I see we're at 301. So thank you for getting us up to 300. I appreciate that. Like I said, there's a lot of things coming up. We got an election coming up that will be really interesting to see how that plays out, right? And then let's say that Trump does win the election, right? What happens between the time of the election when he is, okay, this is going to be the next president in January 20th? What happens between, November 7th, 8th, whenever they declare the winner, and January 20th? A lot of things could happen. A lot of things could happen because then if martial law is enacted, then the current government gets to stay in power because it's a national emergency. And the Constitution is thrown out the window. So if you decide that you want to go out and protest, they can arrest you, lock you up, and there's nothing you can do about it. There is no due process at that point. So remember, martial law is not a good thing. We do not want to see martial law because that's a very bad, bad situation for people. Something to think about. Something to think about. So, like I said, there's a lot of uncertainty in the future. So, but we will continue to do what we can. Hopefully, you guys will also do what you can. Prepare the best that you can. Be ready. Scary times coming up, folks. Very, very scary times coming up. But we can do the best that we can, and we'll be okay. Hopefully. So, but you know, control what you can control. All the stuff that's going on over there right now, we're going to have no say in how that plays out. But what you have 100% control of is what you're doing about it to be ready in just in case. So, and again, I will say one more thing before I jump off of here. Food is never going to be cheaper than it is right now. So I'm going to encourage you to and get out and make those purchases while you can. All right. So anyway, guys, I'm going to jump off. Be safe, keep prepping, do what you can, control what you can control, keep your head on a swivel, be as ready as you can be. I will talk to you all later. Have a great day. Prepper Nurse One out for now.